We just got a pickup load of hay dropped off from bales that broke open, and they didn't want to mess with it, so we were able to get it brought over here. But I'm going to put my mini baler to use and see if we can get... So in my attempt to condense that pile of hay down into a much smaller pile of hay, at times it was very challenging. Some problems did arise, and as you can see, this mini baler is a little bit cumbersome at this point and a little bit harder to work. I am in the fine tuning at this point on this version of the mini baler, and this is version number 3. The whole purpose of this exercise is to help save money on rabbit feed throughout the winter by having hay to provide to them for feed as well. And usually we will go collect grass off the side of the road and bale it up or fill up the animal feed bags. This year we don't have to worry about that. And as you can see, I am kind of struggling with this mini baler. I am still working on tweaking it and trying to get it just right. Each time I use it, I do a little bit more work to it, and eventually I'm hoping to have it perfected. But at this point, I'm still just kind of playing with it and working with it. I did have one that worked really well. It was a smaller version. It was made just out of lumber, and it eventually broke. And so I figured, since I was rebuilding it, that I would actually try to make it more out of metal. And it just made it a little bit more difficult, because when I first started building this, I did not have a welder, and so I was going with what I had on hand and with no ability to weld. Since then, I have bought a welder, so it makes fixing this problem a little bit easier. You'll see that coming up here real soon. So the handle is made out of round pipe that I could drill a hole in and get brackets that would swing on there, and it was all made without any welding at all at this point. And that pendulum swinging is actually what causes problems and makes it a little bit harder to handle. Give you a little bit different view here. I know this is in a tight area and it's pretty dark, so it is kind of hard to get a good view on it. And I kind of wish I would have left the camera where it was, because then here in just a few seconds you would see where my problems start. I think we're getting there. Got the first bale about to come out. Watch as you see all the movement out of the handle and no movement out of the bale coming out of the bottom. Yeah, that's a problem. Dang, I don't know my own strength. Just bent it. So now I'm going to have to do some reconfiguration and find some new material to make this work. We were trying to use the baler, but I ended up bending a piece on it, So I have to fix it before I can use it. You never know when it's going to rain or shine here right now this year. So we want to get all of this underneath a covered roof so it's protected. So you can see where I bent it, because you're exerting a lot of pressure on that when you're doing it. For that pipe, it's just not heavy duty enough. I have another idea. I'm going to try it. If that doesn't work, then I'll find a heavier piece of pipe. But it's kind of a bummer, but yet I kind of knew that it would take some tweaking and working on. And it does make kind of a cute little bale. I'll show you in my glove. Kind of give you an idea how big that bale is. It does make a fairly nice bale. There's quite a bit of grass in there, in that little bundle. So I am going to get it working. I am going to work on this and make more bales, because I can fit a whole lot more of those in a protected area than just have loose hay hanging out everywhere for mice and stuff to get into. So I do believe that I got my mini baler all fixed and working again. Bike part. Another old bicycle part. This metal is from the racking that I just picked up. One of those metal racks. And scrap from trailer springs, leaf springs. This is just an old shackle that was replaced on leaf springs, and so I saved them. So used my welder to weld those on. Fairly simple, easy. Can't really see this side, but it's just too dark. But anyway, it was a fairly simple, easy fix. Just drilled a hole up on top, ground all the extra metal off. You can see where I ground extra metal off there, down there, and cleaned up the ends. Cut it off at like 65 inches, and then got it all hooked up, welded up. Works like a charm. I'll get a video of that, of us making a bale, but I will show you the bales that we do make. Now they're not perfect by any means or any stretch of the imagination, whatever. Just a cute little bale, but it's not for looks. This is so we can compact some hay for our bunny rabbits. So it's function. And I believe that was the first bale that we popped out. This is the last bale that we popped out. So that first bale, it's kind of wonky a little bit too and stuff, because that was with the old piece of metal that I bent. So we just made it work, but this is with the new metal, and so it's the new improved mini baler, the new improved not so remote mini baler. It's working out really good, and the twine is twine that I was given to me from somebody who had a whole bunch of twine from bales that they already cut apart. So, and there's 2 more bales inside of there. Each feed bag will hold 2 of those bales. So I have another one getting ready to pop out there. And we're almost Another bale there. We called it quits for the night. We have lots of other stuff we got to take care of. I still got to water the potatoes and get stuff like that done. Get my tools all picked up and cleaned up. So we called it a night, and we'll get back at this when I come home from work tomorrow and probably get finished up. So hopefully I can get some fairly good footage of us making at least one bale. It's just we've got a pretty good rhythm going now. So I can put a hook, and I might do that where when this is all the way down and tight, then I put a latch to hold it tight, so I could do it by myself if I had to. But it's kind of fun doing it with somebody else anyway. Get a visit with them while you're doing it. I do so much other stuff by myself that this is one thing that I don't mind having help on. I enjoy it, and I don't feel like anybody's going to get hurt helping me. And usually I don't ask for help because I feel like somebody might get hurt, especially when I'm running the sawmill or when I'm moving logs. It always seems like somebody gets hurt when they help me, so I just move the logs myself. I don't want to hurt anybody. Makes me feel bad for way too long. And so this is the next day. And so Kara didn't want to be on camera, so I'm gonna attempt to make a bale by myself. And what I'm doing right here is just stringing the twine through to, at the beginning, and then I'll put hay on top, compact it, and then wrap the twine around the top of the bale, and on the other side we tie it up. So there we go. Now we just start packing some hay in there, and I find if you do small amounts of hay over a period of time, you know, layer after layer, just like the flakes that are in a full-size bale, you just do small amounts, and it seems to compact and work a lot better rather than just trying to stuff it full of a whole big bunch of hay all at once. So now I'm just going to put the plunger in, give it a push down, pushing the bale out the bottom, the previous bale that we made out the bottom. Add some more hay, some more grass, just little bits at a time. Might have taken just a little bit too much of a bite right there, but send the plunger down again, watch the bottom, pop the bale out even farther. Now you don't want to have the bale just sit there, because the next bale is going to keep compressing them down, just like a full-size baler, how they shoot them out the back, you know, and they drop them on the ground as they go. That's pretty much what this baler does. If I don't remove that bale though, then the next bale can't continue to push its way out. And since I've done the new updates, it really seems like it's working way better. I added the new arm. Instead of having two pivot points up on the plunger rod, it only has one pivot point and the other side is welded. And then I cut down the size of the plunger so that there's a little bit more gaps along the side, so it doesn't seem to get hung up nearly as much. And I think all of those things were contributing factors as to why the last one really failed. The thermometer says it's 77 degrees outside, so I'm really thankful I'm working in the shade. Now I'm just looking to see how far down the plunger's going, if I have any more room for some more hay, or if it's time to start making a bale. I'm going to put a block in to help compress it a little bit more, just a 2x4 block, just so I can get it compressed a little bit more. So I'm trying to compress it as tight as I can, not only so I can get more hay into the bale, but also I need that spring back on the hay so that it will actually hold the bale together, because you don't really get the strings tied really tight. Add just a little bit more hay so that it'll compress just a little bit more, and I think we're good to go. So now I do fumble with the twine here, trying to get some knots untied, so I'm not going to make you watch that. And I'm not going to mess around with this knot, I'll just cut it off. And I am using a safety knife, so when you see me slip it into my pocket, the blade is well protected. I'm not going to cut myself. Time to feed the strings through the slots and do the hardest part, which is tying it into a knot, getting it all tied together. And it works really well when you have two people, but when you're by yourself, it's just a little bit more difficult. Time to get the second twine run through, cut the little knot that's on the end off, get it run through, and then get ready to tie it up. Now I have to give it a good pull so I don't have too much slack in that twine. Okay, now that's looking pretty good. Get a block down in there, put the plunger back in, get it all the way down. And since I don't have the hook yet, I'm just going to use the wheelbarrow to hold that handle still. And I'm just going to move you guys to a little bit better angle so you can see what I'm doing. There you go. That's a better view. So pretty much all I'm doing is getting the twine as tight as I can and then tying a square knot the best I can. There we go. Trying to keep it as tight as I possibly can. I know my arm's in the way and stuff. There we go, tighten it up. Nice and tight. Well, I didn't get enough of the slack out on that first one, so I'm going to redo it. And tying these knots isn't as easy as it sounds. It's always nice to have one more person there, so that the person tying, you have the second person that can put their finger over the first cross of the twine so that it holds it tight. I'm ending up having to put my finger in there and do it all by myself. When me and Kara are working together on this, it goes so much faster. It's so much smoother. She feeds the hay into the system while I run the plunger, and then when it comes time to tie, she's tying it and I can just stick my finger over the the little cross and hold it tight while she does the second part of the knot. It goes so much faster. We're able to get a bale done probably, the two of us, probably 4 times faster than me doing it by myself. And there we go, all tied up. And I just need to move the camera out of the way so that I can move the wheelbarrow. Release the handle. And then pull the U-bolt at the very bottom. Pull that U-bolt out so that I can release the next bale. And you'll notice I'm not cutting the twine when we're doing the bales. I'm leaving the long pigtails of the twine that didn't get tied up on there. And that is so when we untie the bales, we can reuse this twine again next year. And I don't have to go hunt down twine, and I don't have to spend any money on twine next year when we get ready to make more bales. And if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, that's just how I do it. I try to save and reuse stuff as often as possible to save myself some money. So there you go, that's a U-bolt. And I use those U-bolts to give me a divider in between each of the bales, and that's what gets as you're going down, you push it down, and that's what it hits the bottom, and then that gives it something to compress all of the hay up against as you're making the bales. Okay, give you a little bit another look back. Gonna start making another bale. It's not as good of a view, but that's pretty much what it is. And I'm just making another bale, and it will pop out. The last bale will pop out the bottom as I push this one down. See that? And it just repeat that same procedure until all the hay is gone. And there you go, you see it just slide out the bottom, and the only thing that's really hanging it up here is the twine. We leave it long so that next time after we use this hay, because we'll untie it by hand, after we use this hay, we'll be able to reuse the twine again to make another bale next year. And people make fun of me all the time for saving stuff like this twine, or doing that where I'll leave it a longer length so that I can reuse it again later. People make fun of me for that, but saving that stuff saves me money in the long run. And that's what this whole process is about. It's not about saving time, it's about saving me money so that I don't have to pay $20 or $30 for a bale of hay. And I estimate that we got 2, maybe even 3 of the full-size bales worth of hay out of this exercise. So we went from this to this. There she goes with her toy. Okay, I'm going to show you what we got here. So there's the little bales, and total number of bales that we got out of that pile of hay is 20. And show you, so that's about what the bales look like. I'll get my tape measure out and measure them for you. Okay, so here we go. And they're not all uniform. This is just a roundabout. So it's about 15 inches by 10 inches. And if I had to guesstimate, I'd say they're anywhere between 6 and 8 pounds a piece. So, not bad. So that was actually a lot of fun making these bales. And I got to perfect my mini baler a whole lot more this year than I have in the past. I'm really glad I have the welder to help me with projects like that now. This saves me and Kara a whole bunch of time going and cutting grass off the side of the road, then bringing it home, drying it, and then putting it into bales. So all in all, I am going to say that this was a win. We weren't expecting it. Somebody called us. We dropped everything else that we were doing to get this project done because we knew we were going to need hay for the winter. And this works out so much better than the two of us doing all that extra added work of collecting the hay ourselves. And an added bonus, everything used in making that baler is from somebody else's trash. And dang, I make this hay pile look small. That's okay. It was a lot of fun making it. I just want to thank you for watching this edition of Not So Remote Alaska. And until next time, may God bless and keep each and every one of you. And with that, I am out.